Well, good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to TechU Prague. It's been an incredible event. Hope everyone has had a great time, and we've got more to come. We're doing something unique in the storage division. We're going to actually do a major product announcement at a TechU. My understanding in all the years of TechU, that's never been done. So the storage division is going to change that, and you're going to be part of a major product launch. We're going to be talking about storage made simple for modern data. We're going to go through a number of new solutions that we're going to offer for AI and big data, for modern data protection, and around our utility offer expansion. But before we do that, I'd like to welcome to the stage Sam Warner, Vice President of Storage Offering Management for IBM Systems. And Sam is going to go over our strategy and how we fit into the overall big picture for what you need for your companies.
Thank you, Eric. And thank you all for being here. I'm really excited to talk to you about all the work we've been doing for the last several years to get to the announcements we're going to make today, which I know you're going to find very exciting. But before we get to that, I want to start and talk to you about what our strategy is and how we're shifting our portfolio and aligning to the big challenges that you as enterprises have and you as partners have in helping your customers tackle some of the latest problems we see in the industry. So I'm going to take you through some of the macro trends we see and how we're aligning our portfolio and our strategy to tackle those problems. We've been talking about AI for years, and for good reason. And if you go talk to CEOs of companies, you'll find that 50% of them have already started initiatives for AI. They primarily have started around how do I improve my operations and reduce costs, but now you see 22% of them are actually delivering new products and services and generating new revenue streams for their companies by leveraging AI. In fact, IDC says that this year, 40% of digital transformation budget is going to go towards AI initiatives. So this is here, it's real, it's now, and you're all trying to figure out how you take all the value of that data you have and turn it into both cost savings and competitive advantage from that sense, but also how you turn it into new revenue streams for your company. The other big macro trend we see is hybrid multi-cloud. Hybrid multi-cloud, it's not a question of if or when, it's now. We're seeing it now. Let me start off by telling you what we mean when we say hybrid multi-cloud. You probably hear people say hybrid cloud, you hear people say multi-cloud. We at IBM always say hybrid multi-cloud. Let me define it a little bit for you. Hybrid cloud means combining traditional infrastructure with private cloud infrastructure and public cloud infrastructure, bringing that together into a single operating model. That's hybrid cloud. When we talk about multi-cloud, what we mean is providing multiple different cloud vendors, giving you the option of using multiple vendors and being open so that you can bring that all together. We know that one is not enough. They provide different types of services and capabilities, so you need the ability to be able to manage across it. So hybrid cloud is the combination of the different types of traditional private cloud and public cloud infrastructure. Multi-cloud is the ability to use multiple different cloud vendors. When you look at the actual adoption, you'll see that 94% of enterprises have already embraced hybrid cloud, and 67% of them are already operating in a multi-cloud model. So this has already happened. And as you talk to these enterprises, and we go out and talk to them, they tell us about the challenges that they've encountered, and I think you'll recognize a lot of these challenges as things that you're seeing as you move into this model. So movement of data between clouds, as an example, very challenging. Creating the right connectivity between these clouds can be very challenging with networking and networking costs and the ability to move a lot of data around. And then having a consistent management model as you go into these different clouds so that as you deploy an application on a public cloud, you can ensure you have the right governance model, security, and that you know your data is safe and that your applications will have the right level of availability. You don't want to have to change your run books depending on which cloud you're running on. So how do you create consistent management across them? So, so I just mentioned that everybody's already moved to a hybrid multi-cloud model for the large portion of people, but it's not all applications yet. We in IBM talk about chapter 2 now of the cloud, and when we talk about chapter 2, this is taking the other 80% of applications that have not yet moved to the cloud, your core business applications, and actually now moving those to a cloud model. And when I say move to the cloud, I don't mean you pick up your application and you go drop it on AWS or IBM Cloud. It's not necessarily moving it to public cloud, it's moving it into a hybrid multi-cloud model, which would consist of modernizing some of your traditional infrastructure, putting it in private clouds, and connecting it to some of the applications and services you're running in a public cloud. So when we talk about this chapter 2, we're talking about this move of the other 80% of your applications. And when you think about doing that, you don't want to have to modernize your infrastructure over and over again, right? You want to do it so that you're future-proof. And as you do that, that means you need to embrace open standards. And as part of that, you need to embrace open source ecosystems to help accelerate your innovation. Take advantage of the communities out there and help you, modernize once for the future. And then, obviously, very important as you move into these new models, ensuring you have the right level of security, especially in a world where there's increasing threats. As we all see in the news every week, new breaches, new attacks that create havoc for enterprises and their customers. So you have to ensure as you move those core business applications into a new model that you have security and availability plumbed through. And then last, you need to make this data available for AI. As we just talked about, it can create competitive advantage, cost savings, new revenue streams through AI. As you move into a new model of hybrid multi-cloud, you need to be able to unlock that data at the same time. And when you think about those macro trends, I think it becomes very clear why IBM took this partnership we've had with Red Hat for 20 plus years and took it further and actually acquired them and brought the companies together. $10 trillion worth of the global economy runs on Red Hat Linux today. And in fact, the majority of cloud workloads are all running on Linux. And now you see this new trend as companies are moving their existing applications and making them cloud ready. They're doing it with container technology. And when I say they're doing it with container technology, you need a framework to manage it. That framework that has emerged as the de facto standards is called Kubernetes. And I assume the majority of you have heard of Kubernetes. And when you look at who the leader is in Kubernetes, it's OpenShift from Red Hat. So again, we have the operating system of choice for cloud. We have the container environment you need to deploy your workloads in the cloud. And we, IBM and Red Hat coming together, can provide that entire platform to actually deliver hybrid multi-cloud. And so then when you think about it, I'm a storage guy, I got to talk about storage, so you got to boil it down to what are the storage challenges. And you don't get away from any of the traditional challenges. You have exponential data growth and relatively flat IT budgets. Maybe there's a lucky person in here who has an exponentially growing IT budget. I highly doubt it. If you're that lucky person, congratulations, you don't need any of this. Just go spend your money. But most of us have to cut infrastructure costs significantly. So how do you do that? You still have that challenge. You need to avoid silos of storage and data and IT and applications in order to achieve the cost cutting of infrastructure. So you need to avoid vendor lock-in. And of course, we spend all of this money and time and energy innovating. We came out with all-flash arrays and now NVMe and next storage class memory. How do you embrace all of that to improve your application response times and improve time to insights from things like AI? You need to lower the latency of the storage. This is the age-old challenge of storage, constantly improve latency. That's the response time. But when you move to hybrid multi-cloud, you get a whole new set of challenges, right? So now, I talked about it earlier, storage connectivity. How do you actually connect your on-prem storage to the cloud? Could be your private cloud, could be your public cloud. Storage location becomes critical. I know in Europe, there's a lot of regulation about where data is placed. This is very important. How do you make sure you have the right level of security? Again, security is key. The cyber attacks are not just hackers anymore having fun in their basement. It's actually organized crime. So how do you protect your data wherever the storage is located? And then speed of adoption. I mentioned all those technologies. How do you ensure when those new technologies are out, you're not waiting 5 more years before you can get it because you need to depreciate your hardware? You need a software-defined approach that lets you bring in that new technology immediately. So we draw a picture that you've probably seen before if you ever listened to Eric or myself talk. But what we want to do is bring together the infrastructure, traditional, private cloud, give you connectivity to all the different public clouds, including managed service providers that might provide unique services aligned to your industry challenges. And in order to do that, you need storage that's flexible, modern, and agile. Flexible in that it allows you to deploy in the same fashion on-prem, in traditional or private cloud, or on the public cloud. It's got to be modern in that it lets you embrace these new technologies like NVMe. And it's got to be agile, meaning it has AI-infused management that does things like automated data placement to give you the best economics and helps you resolve issues more quickly or automatically within the infrastructure. So what we've done is we've aligned our strategy, our investments, and our portfolio around 4 key areas that revolve around a center of a few key capabilities. So first of all, storage for AI and big data. This is about helping you manage all that unstructured data and build a data lake that gives you a single source of truth for your modern analytics and AI. And we have lots of tools to help go with that. We have storage for hybrid multi-cloud, which is about helping you modernize your infrastructure, take advantage of NVMe and all-flash arrays in a model that allows you to extend from traditional infrastructure to private cloud to public cloud. We have our modern data protection, which allows you to move from the past where backup was just an insurance policy to now it being more active protection from threats, and also allows you to unlock that data and reuse it for other purposes like analytics, AI, DevOps as you streamline your business and improve your operations. And then storage for Z, which we just made a very big announcement recently around the new Z15 launch. But storage for Z is about the most mission-critical workloads, providing you the absolute fastest access times and 7 nines of availability. So this is for your absolute most mission-critical. And all of this revolves around a few key tenets of open source and containers, and allowing you to move and transform your applications on an infrastructure that's modern, and cyber resiliency across the portfolio to protect you from all the emerging threats. So what does that look like? This brings together our entire portfolio around these key tenets. Storage for AI and big data is our Spectrum Scale and Cloud Object Storage families, with Spectrum Discover to help you get clear visibility into your whole infrastructure. Storage for hybrid multi-cloud, focusing on our Spectrum Virtualized family with StoreWise, Flash systems, and SVC, which allow you to deploy this and modernize your existing infrastructure. And then storage for Z, our TS7700 virtual tape, and DS8000 family. And then around modern data protection and cyber resiliency with our Spectrum Protect family. So I believe that our core difference in our storage family revolves around 3 key tenets: modern, agile, and secure to the core. So modern, like I said, embracing the new technologies as they happen and take advantage of the investments we're making there to stay ahead on the curve. Agile, being open APIs, having AI-infused management, and having comprehensive container management. And then secure to the core, pervasive encryption everywhere, ransomware detection, protection in things like our cloud object storage, like client-enabled vaults, which will lock down data and make it so it can't be changed, or safeguarded copy on our DS8000 family, which will take storage offline and protect it from any threats. And of course, tape, which has always been the best solution for air gapping, because you can actually completely disconnect it and take it offline. So the big advantage for IBM, the difference is hybrid. It's a consistent approach across traditional private cloud and public cloud. Multi-cloud is about being open, allowing you to deploy on-prem or in multiple different clouds, which is about, again, being open, which is about our flexibility we provide through software-defined storage. And secure, as I mentioned, pervasive encryption across everything and some of those unique capabilities we're delivering. And then making it easier to manage so that one administrator can manage more storage on their own through the AI-infused management we have. So that's the overall strategy and how we're thinking about the portfolio. What I want to do now is this is the exciting part, by the way. Eric got the good part. I'm going to bring Eric Herzog back up, and he's going to talk to you about the really, really exciting new announcements we're making, and hopefully you can see the alignment to that strategy that I just talked about. You'll see how the announcements Eric's going to make fit into those macro strategies. So thank you, Eric.
When the CIO tells you storage is just storage, you can say, no, it's not. It is that most critical foundation for every application workload and use case you've got inside your entire data center and how you extend that out to the cloud. Don't forget that at IBM, on the storage division side, we sell actively to cloud providers. There's several here in the audience that use our Spectrum Protect, for example, as the core engine for their backup as a service offering. We have others that use Flash. We have several smaller cloud providers that embraced our Versa stack. They can roll in featuring Flash system or StoreWise and easily upgrade what they need to do from a cloud provider perspective. So we've got that. We're going to go a little deeper on the focus of the launch today and what we're doing and how this optimizes the things you can do to make your company better. So the first key thing we're going to do is focus on storage for AI and big data. We've got two areas there. We're introducing the Elastic Storage Server 3000. You're going to see it looks very similar for those of you that have a flash system 9100 family, or the StoreWise V7000 Gen 3, or the StoreWise 5100. You're going to recognize it. But it now comes with Spectrum Scale instead of Spectrum Virtualize. The ideal solution, leading in the Gartner Magic Quadrant, leader from IDC in the best software for AI and big data application workloads. We're also expanding Spectrum Discover. As you know, Spectrum Discover allows you to create giant metadata catalogs and indexes that allows you to mine your analytics to have the best in AI. For primary storage, Spectrum Scale, Spectrum IBM Cloud Object Storage, but also EMC Isilon and NetApp filers. Now we're taking that and extending it into the backup area with support for Spectrum Protect. At the same time, we're making major improvements to modern data protection. As Sam pointed out, this is not your father or your grandfather's or your grandmother's backup anymore. So any of the backup admins in the room, remember, it's different now. You're way more important than the person who just is selling insurance. You're now helping them manage the data better, getting better value from that data with the modern data protection capability. We have changes with Spectrum Protect Plus, now embracing the container space. We also are supporting additional clouds with VMware. A new virtual tape library, very focused on the Z platform. As you saw, one of our strategies in enhancing our storage for Z. We're already #1 in market share on the Z platform, but we want to make it bigger. And then we've also added a new element to our storage utility program, which will go deeper on all of them right now. So let's start with AI and big data. You've already seen this wonderful slide from Sam. He stole it from me. Now you owe me 3 cigars tomorrow night. For stealing that, you can laugh. That's funny. Okay. So we're extending that. Many of you have seen the AI data pipeline. Remember, AI is about constant learning. You start learning when you're a baby. Then you go to school. Then you go to university. Then you get a job. And even when you're a grandparent and you're retired, of course no one in this room is retired yet, because you're all here learning about IBM storage and power, but you're always learning. And the smart human always learns. AI is built around always learning. Let's take an easy example. I'm a car manufacturer. Don't think autonomous driving now, think car manufacturing. And I've now brought out a new model, and guess what? The door looks almost exactly the same to the outside, but the actual change in centimeters and the width of the door is actually slightly different. I have a robot building that. Well, guess what? You better A, learn new things, and B, anything you learned from the old door not to do, like how not to put the bolt in a certain way, you need to make sure that you remember that, because the new door is actually 98% similar to the old door, but you have to learn the new things but leverage the old. And that's where the AI data pipeline comes in and leverages Spectrum Scale, Spectrum Discover, Spectrum Archive, and IBM Cloud Object Storage. So, the key linchpin for your AI workloads is Spectrum Scale. Exabyte capability, single global namespace, whether it be local or whether it be distributed. And it's a way to put silos and silos of data together into a single huge data ocean. Yes, I know those other storage guys talk about data lakes. Data lakes are for wimps. You are all dealing with oceans of data. You need to manage that ocean of data. You need to swim that ocean of data. You don't swim the lake, you're swimming the ocean. And IBM, with what we're doing with AI and Spectrum Scale, can help you do that. So you've got that exabyte scalability, unlimited throughput. As you know, you can go from gigabytes a second to terabytes a second, which is important for AI, big data, and analytic workloads that are very dependent on maximum bandwidth to deliver what you need. And as you all are well aware, the 2 fastest supercomputers in the world have over half an exabyte of Spectrum Scale for the AI and big data workloads. Now, everyone doesn't have a supercomputer, and all of you on the commercial side, that is not in government and university, know that AI is sweeping into the enterprise. It's rushing in. It is the new hot thing, whether it be autonomous driving. We have several public references that use Spectrum Scale right now in the healthcare space, both in the pharma area, in actual hospital environments, in cancer research. So it is sweeping into non-academic areas, and it's really critical that you're able to take advantage of what Spectrum Scale delivers. So what we've done is take Spectrum Scale and embed it on our all NVMe-based storage platform. We've already been shipping this platform with NVMe with Spectrum Virtualize on both flash systems and also on the StoreWise family, as well as the associated VersaStack versions of those arrays. So what we've done is now launched today here at TechU the Elastic Storage System 3000. 2-rack-U, incredible density, as we're going to talk about. Each one of these 2U building blocks can start as small as 25 terabytes or can scale up to a maximum of 370 terabytes in a single 2-rack-U system, all powered by Spectrum Scale. You can rack and stack to your heart's content. 40 gigs a second sustained bandwidth for each 2-rack-U configuration, which means you have 10, you're at 400 gigs a second. If you're at 20, you're at 800 gigabytes a second, et cetera, et cetera. So infinite scalability to handle the biggest AI workloads, the biggest big data workloads, like I work that in, and the biggest analytic workloads, regardless of what you do. In any industry, the 3000 is an ideal solution. Now, of course, we've integrated NVMe both on the back side, aka out to the storage media, but also we have it integrated into the front side, supporting both InfiniBand and Ethernet, which is, of course, the primary vehicle to use in a file configuration. The other thing we've done, we've listened to you. Many of you are using Spectrum Scale, and it is an outstanding solution. Did I mention it's won every Magic Quadrant as a leader from Gartner, and the same from IDC? At the same time, many of you have commented, wow, I love it, but boy, is it hard to deploy. Well, with the 3000, we've simplified that. You now can deploy in only a few hours. For those of you who have Spectrum Scale that took 3 days, you probably just had a heart attack. You can laugh at that one too. Okay, now you can do it in just a few hours. Just a few hours to install. We've embedded Spectrum Scale into a series of containers and pre-embedded it onto the array platform, so it's very easy to use. Of course, as Sam pointed out, it's a hybrid multi-cloud world. If you use IBM Cloud, of course I love you. I'm wearing an IBM Cloud logo, so of course I love that. At the same time, we know many of you are going to have Azure or Google or Amazon or the 300 to 400 small cloud providers that already use IBM Spectrum Protect and other products from IBM Storage Division. So we want you to choose whatever is the right cloud for you or however many clouds you want to use. And of course, our partners love it. Many of the business partners are here. We have a business partner conference tomorrow. We want to thank you very much. This is one of our partners in the United States who focuses on big data and AI. That is their primary focus of what they do, and what they see are the advantages of the solution. So in summary, easy to configure and deploy. Incredible operational efficiency in only 2-rack-U, infinitely scalable to exabyte class in capacity, and terabytes, not gigabytes, terabytes per second of bandwidth, ideal for what you need in an AI, big data, and analytic way. Highly reliable with our eraser encoding. Non-disruptive upgrades if there is a media failure. Easy to deploy. Spectrum Scale. Spectrum Scale, as you all know, works very well with IBM Cloud Object Storage, can automatically tier to the cloud, can automatically tier to tape, can automatically tier from flash to flash, flash to disk to disk, or any other combination for you. So it makes it very easy for you from a flexibility perspective. Now, beyond just bringing out the Elastic Storage System 3000, we're also expanding the use of IBM Spectrum Discover. If you haven't tried it, you should. We have a number of references for those of you that haven't tasted the product yet, that we'd love to have you talk to them on how they've used Discover to optimize and simplify the AI and analytic workload. There's a published API, so whatever AI or analytics software or big data software you're using can actually go to these giant metadata indexes and catalogs. You can add custom metadata if you so want. You can save your workloads as templates. So if you're going to run an analytic workload every Thursday, you just use that template. So the amount of preparation that both the data scientists and the storage people need to do to run analytics or AI workloads is dramatically simplified with Spectrum Discover. Now, we launched the product originally with support for IBM Spectrum Scale and the Elastic Storage Server, IBM Cloud Object Storage. But earlier this year, again, we know that many of you, especially in the enterprise shops, are not just IBM. We'd like it to be IBM, but we're realistic. You are hybrid in your storage needs. So we now support EMC Isilon and that file system, and also NetApp. So Spectrum Discover can traverse not only the oceans of data that you have with Spectrum Scale and IBM Cloud Object Storage, but those little data lakes with EMC Isilon and NetApp can be traversed. But that's all with primary storage. So now what we've done is added support for Spectrum Protect metadata on the file side. So now primary storage, Scale, IBM Cloud Object Storage, NetApp, and EMC Isilon. But now you can get rafts of information out of your backup data sets. Many of the bigger shops have petabytes and tens of petabytes of backup information that can be very valuable to your AI or your analytic workloads. And we allow you to do that now with Discover, powered and partnered with IBM Spectrum Protect. Again, this is one of our partners here in Europe. They also happen to be very specialized in AI and analytic workloads. So for them, very important on how they use Discover. They already are selling Discover to some of their end users, and we're very interested in what we can do, not only for primary storage, which we've had now for a while, but now can extend that into your backup data sets. We've also created a community-supported catalog. This allowed third parties to make contributions. You can find and install via a CLI. You can develop and share extensions. And as you know, we already have a published API with Spectrum Discover, so that whatever analytics software you have, whatever AI software you have, whatever big data can use that API and automatically get value from that exabytes and exabytes of that ocean of data that you can manage with Spectrum Discover. So we've talked about AI, big data, and analytics, but you know what? It's also about modern data protection. I am from Silicon Valley. I'm probably the only IBMer you're ever going to hear with a California accent. And we really do have earthquakes. In fact, last week, if any of you have been on the internet, we had 6. Now, none of them were major, but if there was a major earthquake, the data goes away. Doesn't matter how great IBM storage is, when the roof caves in, arrays get crushed. There's no more flash systems, there's no more DS. So it's all about protecting your data. Many of you have seen this slide before about the extensive capabilities about our Protect family platform. We can make sure that your physical workloads are taken care of, your applications, all of your virtual machines of all types, VMware, Hyper-V, KVM, OVM, we don't care what sort of virtual machine you're using. Cloud-based workloads, as I mentioned earlier, there's about 400 small and medium public cloud providers who offer backup as a service, and the engine for that backup as a service is Spectrum Protect. So it's a great solution for any of you that are in the hosting space, in the cloud provider space, or any of your resellers who want to add to your business model and add a backup as a service. It's a comprehensive platform, of course. It gives that operational efficiency, gives you great recovery, data retention, and of course, data-driven transformation by allowing you to use secondary data sets for things like test, analytics, and DevOps. As I said earlier when we talked about modern data protection, it's not your grandfather's or your grandmother's backup. That's the old way. As Sam pointed out, that's your insurance policy. And we still insure you. But boy, isn't it great that you can use a real data set, your DevOps guys, and instead of pulling out that credit card and going to IBM Cloud or Amazon or Azure or any other cloud vendor, and all of a sudden the CIO comes to you and says, wow, there's 25,000 euros a month for cloud providers. Did we sign up for that? And it's all the developers putting out their credit card at 25 euros to get an instance going. Now, IBM Spectrum Protect and Spectrum Protect Plus and CDM can allow you to take care of that. So what we've done, we've supported bare metal. We've supported hypervisors. Now we're going to be able to do modern data protection for containered environments. As you know, for over 2 years, we've offered persistent storage for container environments on the file, block, and object level at no charge to you. No charge for container support. We launched that first for block. We then extended it to Spectrum Scale for file, and most recently, IBM Cloud Object Storage. So that gives you primary storage support for persistent storage in a containered world. That's great. So now you've got that persistent storage. There really could be an earthquake in California. Just look it up on the internet. There was 5 or 6 last week, moderate ones, thank God, otherwise I wouldn't be here. And trust me, you need to protect a container environment. While containers today are heavily DevOps oriented and we have a CLI that the DevOps team can use, you're going to see when we do a demo a little bit later today on this, we're also supporting a traditional GUI. Over time, just the way VMware started as a niche product, now all the bigger accounts either have VMware managed by their server guys or specific virtual administrators. Containers is going to go that way as well in the long haul. So what we're going to do at IBM is support both CLI for the DevOps crew, but also a GUI for the backup admin, the storage admin, or by the way, in some companies, the virtual admins may end up running containers because it is an instantiation of physical box. That's what a container is, just like a virtual machine is, in a different way. So what we're going to do is support Red Hat OpenShift. As you know, we have a number of products already that support Red Hat OpenShift for primary storage. We'll be doing a tech preview this quarter, GA and first quarter next year. We, of course, have embraced the Kubernetes management model. So for those of you that are not using OpenShift but are using Kubernetes in a container environment, we'll be able to back you up today with today's announcement. So we'd love everyone to use Red Hat OpenShift, but again, as Sam pointed out, we are the multi-cloud guys. And the storage division at IBM was doing that way before the rest of the company was. We've had several of those 300 cloud providers that use Spectrum Protect for 5 years using Spectrum Protect or longer. So we've always embraced this multi-cloud model in the storage division. So we want to make sure, now in the container world, just the way we support VMware, Hyper-V, KVM, and OVM, we're going to support Red Hat, and we'd love you to buy Red Hat, but at the same time, if you're using a more generic model, we support that as well from a backup perspective. Cloud Temple in France is one of our cloud service providers. They happen to, of course, be a Spectrum Protect and Spectrum Protect Plus based cloud service provider. They were interested in this, A, because they have existing accounts that have bare metal and virtual machines, but are starting to get into containers. So they came to us and said, when are you going to support container backup? We're one of your customers, but we offer it as a service to end users. We need it. Our end users are asking for it. So we needed to make sure that we support it. In addition to that, Cloud Temple also happens to be a container-based configuration in their own cloud. So Christoph has been very happy. By the way, we will be at VMworld Barcelona in a couple weeks. We will be doing a panel on hybrid multi-cloud and VMware environments, and Christoph will be on that panel at VMworld in Barcelona in a couple weeks. Now, we've had support for VMware Cloud on IBM Cloud. I heard that somewhere. I like that. The crowd is responsive. I used to teach Chinese history at the University of California, but I'm not going to walk through and start picking on people to answer questions. But I like that. Yes, IBM Cloud. But now we're supporting VMware Cloud on AWS. Again, not only providing modern data protection, but modern data protection in a hybrid multi-cloud world. So the same features we had with VMware support in the IBM Cloud, we're now adding to AWS. So all the workloads, the VMs, the database, the applications, just as you would if you had VMware running the IBM Cloud, will now support that VMware running in AWS. And we will be adding additional clouds next year. We're not at liberty to tell you what our order is going to be, but we'll be supporting other major cloud vendors where VMware also has deployed, as well as IBM Cloud, and now today, VMware. Silverstring is also going to be, by the way, on our panel a couple weeks at VMworld Barcelona. They have a product, the Alchemist, which happens to use Spectrum Protect as the key engine to their backup as a service offering. They also, by the way, happen to be a standard reseller. So they have both a cloud provider business and a standard reseller business. So again, they came to us and said, A, we need it for our backup as a service business. We have more and more end users asking about containers, and also about VMware for cloud. We love that you have VMware for IBM Cloud, but AWS is the largest cloud provider on the planet, so we need that support as well. And then obviously they do sell, truly not as a service, but just sell copies of Protect and Protect Plus, and they say we need support on Protect Plus for the VMware Cloud in addition to what you provide us with IBM Cloud. So we've talked about storage for AI and big data, and how you can manage those oceans of data better with Spectrum Discover with backup data sets, and also with the new Elastic Storage System 3000. We've talked about what we've done with modern data protection, extending the capability to mine those backups with Spectrum Discover, which helps, of course, span both modern data protection and big data and AI. Also support for containers. We've had it for primary storage. Now we've got the capability of offering modern data protection in a containered environment. And support extending our multi-cloud vision from VMware on IBM Cloud to now VMware on AWS. So now let's talk about tape. Tape, contrary to popular belief, is not dead. In fact, it's one of the fastest growing product lines at IBM. We have a number of major cloud providers, I can't tell you who, but they are all in the top 5 who buy hundreds of millions of dollars of tape from IBM. And when you use their backup as a service or cold store, it's IBM tape that's providing that critical foundation so you can get a very low cost on your backup as a service. So, what we're seeing is cyber attacks are growing, and tape is a great solution and VTL around protecting you. If you haven't been broken into yet, you will be shortly. The issue is not if you're going to get broken into, it's when. And as Sam pointed out, whether you're the IBM CIA, the Mossad in Israel, the Chinese Secret Service, the Russian equivalent of the CIA, all have been broken into and it's all been public, let alone Sheraton hotels and this city and that university. So it's really important that you have a cyber resilience strategy. If all you do is buy security software from IBM or RSA or Intel or all the multitude of companies bringing security software, you're not doing the right thing for your company. They will break in, and until you can track them down, which could take a few hours or could take a few days, they can steal your data. So you need a comprehensive cyber resilience strategy to go along with what you do. We've incorporated that cyber resilience not only into our other families, such as data encryption at rest across our arrays, the capability of looking at malware and ransomware, anomalous activity in our Spectrum Protect family, but we've also extended it to our virtual tape. The virtual tape is an ideal complement to your mainframe. We know many of you who are Z customers will be looking at the new Z15 and our new all-flash array, the DS8900. The virtual tape is an ideal complement from that. Give you great data economics and save you money. Multi-cloud integration. You can go to IBM Cloud off of the VTL. You can go to Amazon. You can go to Azure or any cloud. Incredible efficiency. The Z is all about constant application performance. And while the Z can also, by the way, traverse out to a public cloud in a multi-cloud configuration, if you let the VTL do it or the storage do it, you free up CPU cycles on your Z, making your Z more efficient and more focused on running your applications and your workloads than moving data out to the cloud. So let the storage do it for you. As you know, the Z platform is all about uptime. You don't ever want that to go down, which is why the bulk of the major banks across the world in every region use the Z. We are the number one provider of storage into the Z platform for what we do with the DS and its performance, what we do with the DS for its disaster recovery and business continuity capability, and we also can do that with our VTL. Security goes without saying. We talked about encryption everywhere with the Z and pervasive encryption with the Z14 before that. We do data encryption at rest on the VTL and also when we go and traverse out to the cloud. And cyber resiliency. You can couple this with a tape and get air gapping. You can use it and vault data out to the cloud and get something akin to air gapping. Not exactly the same as air gapping, but right now you can put the data out to the cloud. If you have a malware, ransomware attack, you have a known good copy out at your favorite cloud provider, and you can pull that data back in once you've cleaned up your primary storage. So it's a great, great solution from that perspective. UMC in Amsterdam is an existing customer for the current VTL, the 7760, which is going to be replaced by the 7770, which we are announcing here today. So we've got a lot of things we've changed. Big data and AI, modern data protection, what we've done with tape in both the data protection side and the cyber resiliency side. Now we know that many of you want a utility model, a pay-as-you-go, where you pay every month or every quarter. So we've added some enhancements to that. Number 3 at the bottom, many of you already know about, our storage systems utility offering. We've had this now for 2 years. We started in North America, then rolled it out to Europe over a year ago now. Almost all of our storage system products, whether it be our all-flash arrays, whether it be our tape, whether it be our VTLs, are available, as well as IBM Cloud Object Storage and the Elastic Storage Server leveraging Spectrum Scale. So all available. But what's new is we're adding a subscription service. This has less of a commitment on your side, and you can get out of it faster than you can with our utility model. So you have more of a long-term rental, if you will, and a short-term rental, if you will, with a subscription model. And coming next year, we'll also be offering storage software as a utility. We have heard you. We know that you don't just want to buy ELAs. We know some of you love ELAs. We also know a lot of you said, the day of the ELA are over. We need a software utility model. So we'll be adding that software utility model starting next year. In the first half, and we'll start with Spectrum Protect, of course, which already is very akin to utility model with all of the service providers who deliver their backup as a service using our Spectrum Protect. So we've got new solutions for AI and big data. We've done a lot of changes in modern data protection. We've expanded our storage utility offering, giving you both a long-term option and now adding a shorter-term option for you to buy storage as utility and next year, software as utility. But now what I want to do is bring up Tricia Dang. And what we're going to do is we're going to do actually modern data protection on a container.
So I want to start talking about the Spectrum Protect Plus container demo and tell you who is going to use this functionality. It's going to be our container enterprise developers like Jane. And Jane is a person who will utilize OpenShift or Kubernetes to develop container applications. And she wants to be able to utilize Spectrum Protect Plus to protect the persistent data volumes that are associated with those containers. Her colleague, Jose, is a backup administrator who uses Spectrum Protect Plus. And as you know, Spectrum Protect Plus is a data protection solution that protects modern workloads like hypervisors, applications, and now containers. Jose's preferred interface is the Spectrum Protect Plus user interface. And with the container implementation, he will be interested in the service level agreements that come out of the box. And these will help with daily backups, weekly backups, or monthly backups. And Jose will use these service level agreements as a governance to understand when the backups will occur, how long those backups will be kept, and most important to him, where in the Spectrum Protect that data will reside. He'll also be able to monitor the container backups and restores directly from this user interface and create reports. In the first half of next year, he'll also be able to kick off container backups and restores directly from the user interface. Now, the container developer, Jane, she's actually the person who's most familiar with the PVCs. And her preferred interface is actually the Linux command line. And she wants to be able to use the tools like the kubectl and YAML files that she normally uses when she's developing these container applications to also protect them. So Spectrum Protect Plus will provide templates like this demo schedule YAML, where she'll be able to go in and enter the name of the PVC that she wants to protect, and then the service level agreement that Spectrum Protect provided, she'll be able to associate it. So with the daily SLA, 4 times a day, there will be an inline CSI snapshot created of those PVCs. And then once a day, it'll be offloaded to the Spectrum Protect site, which is outside of that failure domain. And it'll be retained there for 31 days. Now, she can also do an on-demand backup if she chooses. And once again, using a YAML file, she can specify the PVC she wants to do the online backup with. And this would create a one-time CSI snapshot. Now, when it comes to restore, she might want to restore a PVC and maybe create a test environment. And so she can use this kubectl command along with a describe of the PVC demo to see her different backup restore points. And in here, she'll not only see the local snapshots that were created on schedule, but she'll also see those on-demand snapshots and the copies that were sent to Spectrum Protect Plus. And in order to do a restore, all she has to do is select the restore point, she'll copy that, and then she'll paste that into a restore YAML file. And in this restore YAML file, she's going to specify the PVC she wants to restore, the PVC she wants to restore it to, and the restore point she wants to bring back. Now, since Spectrum Protect Plus is doing native container backup and restores, we can seamlessly bring back this restore into the new PVC. Most of our competitors can't do that. They do not have native container support, and so when they do these backups, they're actually mounting the PVCs to a backup client and doing a plain old file level backup, which basically loses all of the container intelligence. And when it comes to restores, those competitors are having to do a very cumbersome process that's very manually intensive. So, in summary, Spectrum Protect Plus now provides native integration with containers. We can do scheduled backups, online backups, restores, we provide SLAs, and we provide the interface for the end user. So for our backup admins, they can do this in the Spectrum Protect Plus user interface. And for the users like the container application developers, they can use the kubectl and the YAML files inside of the Linux command lines that are so beloved.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed being part of our launch, the first time that we've ever had a launch at the TechU in the history of TechU. I'm sure we'll continue as such. We now have a number of sessions after today. We can learn more about what's going on with our AI solutions, with our container backup, with what we're doing with our VTLs. For those of you of our end users in the audience, please make sure you reach out to your account teams and your SEs on how you can get educated, what you can do online, and other certifications that will now embrace these technologies. For our business partners, please make sure you reach out and see what we have on Partner World and also in the Seismic tool. This presentation, by the way, will be available from the TechU team. We've given them a copy, so when you download the presentations, you'll be able to get a copy of this. So again, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us.